Hello, welcome to the Caffeinated Cast-Ons YouTube channel. My name is Therese, also known as Caffeinated Cast-Ons. Welcome! This is episode 63 of Caffeinated Cast-Ons. This is my YouTube channel where I just take you through my knitting. I'm a North Texas-based knitter. And think of this as a video version of Ravelry project pages. I'll take you through the projects I'm working on, talk about the yarn, needles, any modifications I make, and just my thoughts of the project as I go along. I am caffeinated, hence Caffeinated Cast-Ons. This is my second cup of coffee for the day. I did have some cold brew this morning, and I've got a little bit more cold brew this afternoon. It is Saturday, June 7th. It's already June. Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. And it's been, I feel like, a good knitting week. I am in a weird spot with my knitting where I don't feel like I've made much progress, but I know I have. So we can talk about those. Any of the projects that I do talk about will be linked down below in the description box. So you can see my Ravelry project pages there. And then let me know if you've got any questions. No finished objects this week, but I do have some good progress on some projects that I'm going to walk you through in my works in progress. Work in progress number 1 is my Willa tee by This Bird Knits. It is in this bag. This was from like the dollar spot in Target. I want to say maybe last summer. A friend got it for me, and I have my Willa tee in here. And I want to say I've done maybe 1.5 inches, probably 2 inches since last week. So here's my stitch marker here where I left off last week. So probably 2 inches, I would say. And here's the garment so far, looking so good. I've still got the sleeves on hold. Last week, my goal for the Willa tee was to get through the body to be able to start the hem. And I think I am there. I'm pretty sure it is ready for the hem. I want to do one more try on. However, I've just been putting it on a stitch holder cord, similar to what the sleeves are on right now, but I keep dropping stitches whenever I'm either transferring it from the needle to the cord or just in the middle of the try on because I stretched it too far. But I am missing my small twisty piece to connect my cords together. So I need to get a new one because I'd rather just keep it on the cord, extend the cord, put the stopper on, and try it on that way. So this is kind of at a standstill until I get that piece replaced, which I'll talk about when I'm doing that in a little bit. Yeah, the Willa tee by This Bird Knits. I am knitting this on a size US 8, which is a 5mm, and I knit these on my ChowGoo interchangeable needles. The yarn I am using is this assigned pooling yarn from A Chick That Knits. And this is in the deluxe sock base, which is 85% superwash, extra fine merino, and 15% nylon. And then this is in the colorway Turtle Dove. So this was this yarn was supposed to be like a triangle shawl that had the assigned pooling. Essentially, you're knitting like a type of bauble, like with the way you're doing the stitch, and it looked like flowers were blooming. But that pattern just wasn't for me. I tried it, I didn't have the patience with it, so I just am knitting with it straight stockinette. There was some lace to do at the top of the shirt. Oh, that's the back with the neck shaping. But it's going really well. I am knitting, I can't remember if I'm knitting the size 2 or the size 3 in this. I'd have to go back and look, but it is probably in the Ravelry project page. And I only have 2 skeins of this, and I am in the second skein. So this is all I've got left. And so this needs to get me through the hem and the sleeves. Which for the sleeves, these are going to be short sleeves. If anything, I'll probably do maybe 5 rounds. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to have it be a rolled hem and just cast off in stockinette, or if maybe I'll do like a garter ridge hem. I don't think that I want to do a ribbed, I guess, cuff hem for the sleeve. So a little undecided there. So we will see. I think the only modification really that I've made to the pattern, I can't remember how long I'm supposed to knit before I start the hem, but if anything, I think I'm doing it just a little bit longer because I think it is more of a cropped shirt, but I'm just doing it to my desired length. My next project that I'm going to talk about is my pair of rye socks, and this is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. I kind of have this split up into like 2 different bags right here. This one is a reversible like knit pearl bag from Prep Eclectic. I got this at a trunk show at Juju Knits, and it's like a wire frame. I love this bag so much. It is so cute. And then this other one was just something that I found, like this little mini tote in the Target dollar section too. So it's perfect for a little 1 skein project. So I have my socks split up. Last week, I believe I was through the heels because I did go back and put stitch markers on them. So last week I was right here. So I think I've finished the foot length on this. Something I noticed in my socks, I was wearing a pair of socks that I finished recently. It was the Rhinebeck Roomies made with some Madeline Tosh yarn. And I noticed they were a bit more slouchy on me, both in the leg and in the foot. And I'm pretty sure actually, I measured that my row gauge has changed in my sock knitting because I wondered if maybe my stitches per inch had changed, but it hadn't. They're about the same, but whenever I measured how many stitches per inch that I was getting row wise, that had changed. So I think I might need to tweak my numbers a bit, which is, I don't want to say annoying because it's not annoying. If anything, I just have to pay more attention when I'm making these next couple of socks to see what length everything needs to be where I like it. Because I've had my numbers memorized for like foot length and like how I like the cuff and everything. There's the dog. So I think the next pair of socks that I cast on might be toe up, just so I can try on as I go and see what the numbers are like going from there. Typically I've been working cuff down, and that's because I like the heel flap and gusset. And with a toe up, I usually do the fish lips kiss heel. So I think I kind of need to reevaluate my numbers there. I'm not really interested in changing needle sizes because I don't know if it's due to the 9-inch circulars knitting in the round, because I really haven't worked a pair of socks magic loop in a while. I can't remember if I worked the Rhinebeck Roomies magic loop. I don't know. But we'll see. I think I just need to pay a little bit more attention with the method and what those counts look like, because I think my gauge is loosening up just a little bit there. But I just think it's so interesting that it's row length, not stitch. Who knows? Anyways, back to the rye socks. So I think I'm finished with the foot. I did a try on, and I am at my typical foot length if I was knitting this in vanilla, but this has a garter panel in the front, and my last pair of rye socks I did have to knit about 10 rows more because the garter kind of scrunched things up a bit. So I'm not sure, but I'm kind of ready to start the toe. If anything, the toe just may be 5 rounds more before I actually start decreases which I don't think I would mind because I really like the sparkle that's in the heel, which is going to be for the toe. So that's one sock out of my pair. The other, oh, and then you'll notice I switched to magic loop on these. Whenever I get to the toes, in socks that I work 9-inch circulars, I switch to magic loop because I'm not even going to attempt a toe on 9-inch circulars. And then the other sock, where's my stitch marker? This is where I left off last week. So I'm done about 1 inch. So I've still got a little ways to go to finish the foot length on this sock. So this is still going so far. This is not ready for the toe yet. So my plan is to get them both to toes. But I'll talk about that more in my goals. Wasn't expecting or planning to pick this up because I was just gonna go heads down and focus on my Willa tee. But I ended up reaching for it. I don't know what it was, but I think it was because I got some new scraps for it from some friends, and a lot of them were less than 20 grams, which is about the scraps that I reserve from any of my leftover yarn to put into. She lives a hard life. Anyways, 20 grams is typically the amount of yarn that I save from my scraps to put into the DK jelly blanket. But I've got some scraps that were less than that, and so I knew they were gonna knit up faster because I'm holding it double. And I got so like addicted to the color change. So, oh yes, this is this is the Jelly Roll Blanket by Kay Jones. I am doing the DK version where I am holding my fingering weight yarn double. So I'm just pulling from the inside and outside of how it's caked up to get that. This blanket is getting so big. Last time, oh my goodness, it just unrolled. Last time I showed this blanket, it was down here, this little stitch marker. And I have added quite a few colors. So this is where I am right now. And I am almost done. This is the top with the 8th strip. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, almost done with the 8th strip. Let me see if I can show this to you. Like, it is super long. Look at that. It looks so good. I made a lot of progress this week adding in all those smaller scraps, and I'm so excited. I think my goal is 12 strips for, I guess, the width of the blanket, and that's my goal. That's what I think is going to be where I like it. We'll see. I'll have to kind of lay with it a little bit after that to see if I like it. But I think that's going to be where I'm going to like this width because it is so like tall. It's going to be good like wrap around. Oh yeah. Because if this is already what it's looking like, you can see all my ends that I need to weave in. I think this is going to be perfect. So yeah, I think 12 is going to be where I end up saying the blanket is done. We'll see. I do need to weave in a ton of ends. So let's talk about goals for the upcoming week. I'll start with this since I have this out. My goal is to finish the 8th strip, and then I need to go back and weave in ends on this blanket. Typically after I finish a row or a strip, I will go and I already weave in as I go, so really it's just kind of knotting everything up and trimming that, but I haven't been going back and trimming my ends the last like 2 strips, I think, 1 or 2, so I need to go back and do that. So the goal, finish the 8th strip and then go back and spend some time knotting everything up, weaving in ends. And it should be pretty simple. Like I mentioned, I'm weaving in as I join my yarn, so everything should be pretty secure. I just need to trim everything up. Goal for my rye socks is to get both socks ready for the toe. I don't know if I'm going to be finishing the toes this week. Actually, maybe I can. Maybe I can get through the toes this week before I pick up my Willa tee. Actually, I think I might do that because I'm not getting Hi. But yeah, I think the goal is to get both socks through the toes. Maybe not Kitchenered, but at least like through the toes. And then for my Willa tee, I do want to do the final try on, what's hopefully the final body try on, and start the hem. This week, I am taking another trip to McKinney Knittery. One, I need to exchange a pair of needles that I got for socks. I grabbed a US 1.5 instead of a US 1, so I need to swap those out. So I'm taking some time this week to go do that. That's it for my projects, but other kind of general yarny knitting things. A couple of episodes back, I talked about how I can't talk. Kayla from the Crazy Sock Lady is not doing summer sock camp this year, but I did see that Juju Knits, a yarn shop in Fort Worth here in Texas, they are doing a sock along this summer. So I haven't been fully committed to socks and oh, I need to cast on because it's the start of like a make along or whatever it is. But I think after I finish my Willa, I do want to cast on an additional pair of socks. Like I mentioned, I want to work one toe up just to make sure, do a size check. Yeah, so it's not super strict. It's literally just talking about like making socks. Like you can show them a finished pair. I think you get a sticker. I don't know if you have to do it in person at Juju Knits or if it can be something on Instagram. I'd have to go back and look at the post, but if you look up Juju Knits FW on Instagram, there's a post that has the information there. I already said I was going to McKinney Knittery again this week. Oh, something I forgot to mention. So with scraps of my DK jelly, once I get to a stopping point, I'll use the entire scrap of yarn, but sometimes it's not enough to go forward and back whenever I want to change colors, and so I'll trim that. And I've started a new magic knot ball going. This is my third magic knot ball. I have two that are already caked up, and they are about 100 grams, give or take. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use them for yet, but I like to see them grow. I would like to do some type of project with them where I am holding it double with like a more neutral yarn. But I haven't decided what that's going to be, but I love it. So there's my tiny little magic knot ball that I've got going so far. Reading, watching, and listening. So I finished Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. That is book 3 in the Part of Your World series. And y'all, okay, so last week I talked about how I finished Yours Truly and it was my favorite. I think that one is still my favorite, but this one is a very like right there behind it. Even more so because the way it wrapped itself in with the other books in the series was my favorite. Like of all, like it already had plenty of fun Easter eggs, but then how they wrapped it all up in the end, I was just like, I got so excited. Very good. There is like a trigger warning at the beginning of the book, just because of like the mental health kind of things that they talk about, relationships. So be cautious of that. I've only seen the trigger warnings at the beginning of this book, but I'm assuming you can look it up somewhere. But yeah, it was so good. I finished it and loved it. I'm not currently reading anything right now. I'm kind of not sure what I want to read next. I think there is like a quick like fourth book in this series, but it's not ready from my library to borrow yet. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to read next. Watching, still making my way through Criminal Minds. We've kind of been jumping around on shows. We haven't been watching too many shows lately because we're so tired. Between work and a toddler, like I am beat and I just want to lay in bed and knit or read or do nothing. As far as listening, I really have been into Alt J, specifically their album An Awesome Wave. It has been my fun like focus music for work, and I will just listen to that whenever I have like my head's down time at work and like plug in to get stuff done. And then Aurora, love her music, and she's so like ethereal. Like I have been digging her music lately. It's been a while since I've listened to it, like because I first heard her like years ago, but I've like rediscovered her again and love it. That's all I got for you this week, so let's wrap her up with 3 simple joys, and then I'm going to sit and knit while I can because my son is napping and I want to take advantage of that. Simple joy number 1, I got new shoes. I don't think I talked about this. I got new shoes a week ago. I went and had like my foot scanned and did like this walking test and got a pair of shoes recommended for me. And I have been walking with them about a week now, and they're starting to feel really good. It was a little bit for my body to get used to whenever I first had them on, just because I found out so much about my feet. But it's really great. So I've really been enjoying feeling more comfortable walking because I've been experiencing like lots of pains. Simple joy number 2 was having a lunch date with my husband. What am I saying? He was off from work this week, and so in the middle of the week, we just decided like, hey, let's go to lunch. And so I blocked out time on my calendar for work so I could take a little bit of a longer lunch. And we just went to one of our favorite restaurants in town and split appetizers and ate lunch. And it was so nice. It was so fun to get away from work in the afternoon. And that was just so nice to have that one-on-one time together. And then simple joy number 3 is I went to brunch with some knitting friends this morning, and they got to meet my son for the first time. And I've been friends with them since before I became pregnant. And so they were with me through my pregnancy, baby shower. They knitted him gifts whenever he was first born. And so it was so nice to actually like bring him along. Because typically whenever I meet up with my friends, it's for like knit nights or dinners, and he's already asleep by then. But it was so nice just to like see him, interact with him. He was a little shy at first, but I think they won him over. One of them brought him books and toys to play with at the breakfast table, so he really appreciated that and invited them to color with him. So it was just so sweet to see him and like see my friends with him, and that's very meaningful. So I really appreciated that, and it was so fun just to bring him along as my little buddy to have for breakfast. All right, that's all I've got for you this week. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you're gonna do any sock make-alongs. I kind of want to follow up on the Juju Knits one and see about that, and but here's the trouble. It's like if I focus on socks, then am I not gonna make my Q3 garment? I don't know. I'll talk about that next week, I guess. I better stop rambling now. Yeah, so until next time, stay caffeinated.